Hey everyone, welcome to the next playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And now we have a sword, finally, and now we get to rescue Tetra, who fell in the forest. And there's the pirate ship, as you can see. And one thing I really love about this game is the combat. The fighting is so fun in this game. This and Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time had really fun gameplay, but when it came to regular enemies and dungeons, it didn't have many. However, they had the best bosses. They had my favorite boss battles, that game. Majora's Mask had the hardest boss battles that I really hated. I didn't really... That was probably my least favorite Zelda game, although I liked it. I didn't say I didn't like it. It was just really hard. It was very frustrating. But it was good. But this game's boss battles are very easy. They were too easy in this game. I do wish, though, in this game that they made it harder. It was a little too easy. It's a little too easy. Like, Ocarina of Time was not too hard. It wasn't too easy. Same thing as Twilight Princess, although Twilight Princess, I think, was a little easier than Ocarina of Time for me. But the dungeons in Twilight Princess were massive. They were giants. Ocarina of Time, not so much. But this game was like middle of the road. You could say Ocarina of Time dungeons, they're like the same size. And this is why I really love the gameplay. I just killed two enemies at the same time, which is so fun. Now, Tetra's already rescued, basically. But otherwise, this is a great game, and so are all the other Zelda games, so, you know. Always gonna have a favorite, but I do think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. I think Skyward Sword could be the best Zelda game yet. But not everyone's going to think that. But that's okay. My opinion, just throwing it out there. And I really don't care what other people think about my opinion about a game. So I just wanted to throw my opinion out there just because I felt like it. At least based on the trailers, the game looks amazing. And I really like how it teaches the origin of Hyrule, the Master Sword. And what's really young to me is that I think there's going to be Sheikah in this game. I've seen the Sheikah trailer, where there were some Sheikas in it. Like, there was a Sheikah in it. It wasn't a Sheikah trailer, but it was a Sheikah. And I'm like, I really want to see Sheikah, because Sheik and Impa were super cool. I really liked them. They were cool. And I think the game could use some Sheikah. And they were basically destroyed and killed. So it's like, why not have Sheikah now? I mean, it makes sense. Makes sense, so, you know. Now, Errol gets kidnapped. Yeah. Now Link, having fun, almost plunges to his death, basically. Now he's having a fit, going crazy. And now your goal of the game is at first rescue the sister, which you don't do until later on, obviously, but now we go to the Forsaken Fortress after I get my shield. We're gonna get the shield. I can't wait to get the mirror shield. The mirror shield in this game is awesome. It looks super cool. So does the mirror shield in Ocarina of Time. And, you know, all that. It's just great. So now, while they're having this conversation, I wanted to talk to you guys about the timeline. I said in the first playthrough I was going to make a video. Well, instead, I'm just going to talk about it now, because there's nothing too exciting going on here, obviously. So, my opinion on that. Well, as all the games I've played and what I think have made sense, I am not going to include the Game Boy Advance handheld games. No, I'm not going to do that, because I can't do anything based on that. All those handheld first Legend of Zelda games, I'm not gonna include in the timeline for now. I will later, but right now, no. So, they say, I'm sure everybody knows this, but that Skyward Sword is going to be a prequel to Ocarina of Time. Which would make perfectly sense if they're talking about the origin of Hyrule and how the Master Sword was formed, so it makes a lot of sense, because in Ocarina of Time, when you first go into the room where the Master Sword is, Navi says it's that legendary blade. So legendary means it's been used before and it's probably old. So where do you get that from? I mean, there had to be something before it, so it makes that ties in with Skyward Sword. And the harp, or the lyre, that Sheik has, is the same, probably the same exact one that Zelda has in Skyward Sword. And then when Zelda gets kidnapped in the tornado or whatever, you know, Link has the harp, and now that's the instrument for that game, the harp. So Sheik ends up getting the harp because when Sheikah existed, maybe Zelda gave the harp to them. Well, actually no, that's not what I think. I think it was actually the harp was an instrument given down to the royal family, because Sheik was really Zelda technically in Ocarina of Time in disguise. So, and Zelda in Skyward Sword isn't a princess yet, and she probably becomes the princess. The royal family comes around and all that stuff. And then that guy, who I think is Zelda's father in the trailer, the big tall guy with the white beard, looks like like the little owl, the big owl basically. And yeah, I think that he's going to become king. She's going to be the princess, and then that's how it's going to start with the actual kingdom. So, that's exactly what I think. Then came what I think next. Okay, so I think Skyward Sword came, then Ocarina of Time, then Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is so obvious, it's not even funny, because, I mean, you get the Ocarina of Time back, so it's obviously after Ocarina of Time, and you have the memory of Zelda, so yeah, it's definitely after Ocarina of Time. Then, I think Twilight Princess comes after that. And the reason I think that is because in Wind Waker, there really is no Hyrule anymore. It's in the sea. It's drowned. Hyrule's not there anymore on the surface. Only these islands. So it would make sense. And now I'm going to include the DS games. I mean, yeah, the DS games, and now I'm going to include the Game Boy Advance games and the Game Boy Color, Zeldas, and all that stuff. So, now I think that, hang on, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I think, well, this is obvious too, this is just like Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, that Phantom Hourglass definitely comes after the Wind Waker, because it even tells you in the beginning of the game the story of how Link rescued Zelda from Ganon. It even talks about the islands that they were on, so it would make perfect sense. And now we go on the ship and whatnot. Anyways, so yeah, I think it would make sense to have Phantom Hourglass as the Wind Waker, and then I think Spirit Tracks is the last one in the whole timeline, because think about it. In the beginning of Spirit Tracks, when you get your little engineering certificate, whatever, if you get in the third room, it'll show a picture of Tetra. And Zelda's saying, my grandmother had the flute, the little flute. And so you know, it's obviously Tetra that's the grandmother. And in Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, they were off adventuring to find basically a new place to make Hyrule, to make another Hyrule, basically. Which happened in Spirit Tracks, so now there's a new Hyrule. And she's the founder, the new Hyrule. So that also makes sense too. That's it. I mean, that's all there is to it on that. And in this game, these two are they're in the game, obviously, for the majority. Tetra becomes Zelda. In Wind Waker then turns back to Tetra when she goes back on the surface at the end of the game. So yeah, that's what my opinion on the timeline on that. Now, the other games, Four Swords, Minish Cap, Zelda 1, Zelda 2. Okay, well I think Zelda 2 comes, it comes after, I think it comes after Zelda 1, that's my opinion. So it comes after Zelda 1, and then I think Minish Cap is before Zelda 1, but not first in the timeline, which is really, this is where it gets confusing. I think Minish Cap is before Zelda 1, primarily because they were childhood friends, Zelda and Link. They were, in Minish Cap, supposedly childhood friends like in Skyward Sword. So, I could be totally off on this timeline. I'm just giving it what I think it is. I think eventually we're all going to know what the real timeline is because everyone's going to be complaining about it still. So I think eventually Nintendo's going to talk about it and say what's the timeline and probably explain why and all of that stuff. So the order that I think the timeline is I think it's Skyward Sword, Minish Cap, wait, no, scratch that. No, yeah. Skyward Sword, Minish Cap, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, oh yeah, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks. But Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, that is the big problem. I have no freaking clue where I can think they would be, because of the fact that Minish Cap could be actually the first Zelda in the timeline, but apparently but they say Skyward Sword is the first in the timeline. So I think, and I missed this, and I think Skyward Sword is going to be first. Because they said it's a prequel to Ocarina of Time, and I think the Master Sword was already around when it became invented. So, yeah, that's all I can say. Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, I really don't care. I really don't care what they are. But that's all there is to it. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll put it in the description and maybe put a tag to maybe the game. No. Because I really suck at this. But now, for the next playthrough, I'm not going to be talking about other Zelda games anymore. I just wanted to put that out at the beginning since there's something really, really interesting going on. And now I need to hurry up and get on this platform. So that's basically it on that. Now, we're focused on this game. This Zelda. So now we're gonna get the spoils bag. Alright, so I'm now going to stop my walkthrough here. Please comment and subscribe.